Hi, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today is going to be a collective reading. I just kind of wanted to see where we're all at. What are we confronting? What are the blocks that we need to overcome? So I already got started, and forgive the new setup. I'm pretty much going to have a new setup every video because I'm in between many spaces right now. So bear with me. We have friendship in the reverse, justice in reverse, love, passion, freedom, and lightening your load. Okay, so collectively, we are trying to bring balance to some sort of internal or external love situation. What is our relationship to love? Love within ourselves, love of others, sharing love, giving love, receiving love. What are the blocks to love right now? For some of you, it's a love situation, either a relationship, a marriage, an ending of a relationship or marriage. There's something here where we're learning how to temper our emotional truth, our emotional experience with our love journey. So we're learning how to bring balance. And I don't take the justice card that literal in this sense. However, for some of you, you may be needing to bring justice to some sort of love circumstance, love situation, some relationship. And now that justice gets to look like a lot of different ways. I'm apprehensive to use the word justice in this context because it almost sounds like, you're going to retaliate or you're going to win, quote unquote, or whatever. So really what this is saying is, how can I come into deeper balance within myself about these situations, about my relationship to love? Maybe it's love between you and your parents. Maybe it's healing moments in your life where there was a lack of love, right? And being able to gift that love to self, to the parts of self that didn't receive love, compassion, and empathy when they needed it. Okay. Sorry, my throat's getting gunked up right now. Like I can't even, hold on. I can't even swallow. It's like a big lump in my throat right now. So for some of you, have you ever seen that image? I'm very drawn to this bird cage right now. That image where there's a bird in the cage, but the door is open. There's something about this here for us collective that we are learning how to reclaim our true freedom. And what does freedom actually look like, right? Is freedom getting everything we want, or is freedom really trusting in self enough to know that we can support ourselves and we have our own backs in any circumstance that life may or may not throw at us? So by being consumed by this kind of unfinished business regarding this love theme, I don't know, when I read for such a large collective, and mind you, this is everyone, this is all of us, right? When I read for such a large collective, I have to, cast a very wide net. I can't really lean in on any one narrative right now. However, we do have friendship in reverse and justice in reverse right next to each other. There's something here also around reclaiming a truth, taking accountability for your side of the street, right? If some of you have a friendship to repair, here's what's happening. I'm going to just drop into the literal and say all of the very literal things that I've been kind of tiptoeing around just to get it out of my system, because this might resonate for some of you. It's just funny when the cards are so literal. It doesn't take very much finesse to kind of yank out the intuitive message here, but let's just call it what it is, right? Some of you have to repair a friendship. What does that look like in your life? Does that resonate? Is it a friendship in your 3D life right now? Is it a connection with a coworker or a boss, or Is it more so repairing your inner friendship, the ability to just, what does it mean to you to be a friend, to have a friend? What does friendship mean to you right now? Do you value friendship? Have you gotten sucked into love relationships or work, or more of a self-centered focus in your life? Have you been neglecting your friendships? Let's just really honor the literal right now. You're being called to lighten your load, and this will ignite this alternative. I'm doing this because it's like I'm sensing this other flavor of freedom. It's not, when you think of, well, I don't know, I'm not going to tell you what you think about freedom. You can answer that for yourself, but there's like another savory flavor of freedom and sovereignty here, that when you lighten your load, when you put down that which you've been carrying for your life, for your that's been weighing on your heart, that you've been carrying on your shoulders, either physically or energetically, this will ignite this, let me say it like this, it'll ignite or reignite this deep, deep soul passion. Let me look at what's in the unconscious. Okay, boundaries, very interesting. Those of you that know me in real life know that I talk about, even on this channel, I talk about boundaries 24/7. I mean, if everyone all of a sudden woke up tomorrow and became a honest and truthful steward of their own boundaries, we would have, I think, a lot less chaos. Well, maybe day one or week one or maybe even year one, we'd have a lot more chaos because we're recalibrating and learning how to honor boundaries, right? Learning how to set boundaries, learning how to honor other people's boundaries. Sometimes people's boundaries may feel like a rejection, but that's really just activating those internal parts of self that that want to be chosen, that want to be heard and listened to. So it's our job to kind of bring those parts, parent those parts, bring them back to love, really honor that someone else's boundary really has very little to do with us. It's about their needs, wants, desires, fears, boundaries, and their perception of the world around them that brings them to that conclusion that they need that boundary. And sometimes we can affect change of other people's boundaries, and sometimes we can't. And that's not up for us. We can show up with love. We can do our best to create safety and trust. We can do our best not to break that trust, right? Which creates more safety when you can nourish a friendship in that way, or a relationship. But at the end of the day, it's up to them, right? It's up to us, right? We also have to be a really, I keep wanting to use the word diligent, but it's like very accurate, ringleader of our boundaries. Okay, so those of you that have been following me for a little bit, when I have a reversal in the unconscious position, to me, that is a false shadow. That is a false boundary. I'm reading the boundary card. That is a false shadow, false narrative. It's almost like what you think, the boundaries you thought you were holding may not be the appropriate boundaries that you actually need. You might be listening to me and say, Karen, I am the best boundary keeper in the world, but maybe you're only great at boundaries at work, maybe in your personal life or in your friendships or your family. I just said that to someone the other day. I have the hardest time maintaining my boundaries with family. It's like when love is involved, for me personally, when it's like my actual family, it's very difficult for me to hold boundaries, and specifically hold boundaries of my body, like meaning space and time. Like if someone asks me to do something or be somewhere or help out with something, I have different, I've dealt with back problems since I was a little kid. And that's no doubt been a kind of paving the road to me becoming better with my boundaries. That's my work, right? That opportunity, that pain, all of that pain was an opportunity. It was a gift. That's how I'm choosing to look at it, right? This is how we train the psyche to access the highest and best possible interpretation of something. So what can this pain or grief or whatever obstacles in front of you, what can this teach you? It's our job to become curious students and explorers of the reality that lies in front of us. Because maybe what we're perceiving as reality is actually just a surface perception. Maybe there's something deeper to be revealed. Okay, so going back to this unconscious position here. So the boundaries that you think you've been holding may not be the most resonant boundaries that you actually need. You're being called to, okay, separate message coming through. So I keep staring at this light in your load card. Let me just show it to you in reverse. It's kind of striking. I mean, quite literally, this person looks like they're in agony and they are carrying the world on their back. And it's interesting to me that they're also walking on tippy toes. That's a very fascinating, I think, intentional choice of the artist or whoever made this image. It's also that thing of, where do you catch yourself walking on eggshells? There's something here. Are you tiptoeing anywhere in your life? Do you find yourself swallowing your truth or not being able to communicate as freely as you would like? Where in your life, this is going to be a good, this is going to be your navigation. This is going to be like your internal compass of where you need to bring temperance, balance, and justice to. So where in your life do you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, that you are tiptoeing around truth with a person, place, a job, a community? Is there some deep truth that you feel unsafe or like you won't be heard? Now, there's a few angles to look at this. Okay, first you have to look at what's on your side of the street. Is your choice not to share your truth or not to be fully transparent, is that warranted, right? Because our intuition, our perceptual system, our nervous system, our animal body, our instinctual like fight or flight system is so divine. It's so intelligent is the word I'm looking for. So sometimes when we perceive that we may not feel safe to be received in our truth, we withhold our truth. That's not a bad thing necessarily. If you are quite literally protecting yourself and worried about your own safety, honor that truth. I'm not saying go out and, vomit your truth all over the place, only if you feel it's in alignment to do so, only if it resonates with you to do so, right? Sometimes we walk on eggshells because we don't want to be chastised or yelled at or screamed at, or we don't want to deal with the confrontation of whatever it is. Now, only you can make this healthy, wise discernment, right? So the other way to look at this is it you actually blocking your truth? Is this person, place, or thing, or community, or coworker, who, whatever it is, are they a safe person? Can you actually speak your truth, but you're actually scared to? Really, this is going to challenge your presence practice. How present can you get with the energy that's moving through your body? Can you identify when you're walking on eggshells, first of all, or, tiptoeing around a subject? Drop in, get curious, create a lot of space around that moment. Because then the next step is, okay, is this mine or is this coming from an external environment, right? Am I just like this because of how I was raised and the people that I was around? Is this a pattern of behavior that I can break? Or is this something that's actually, are these perceptual cues I'm getting from the environment around me that says it's not safe to do so? I'm really stressing this because if you are in a potentially abusive situation, you don't want to go and speak your truth and then get, and then bear the repercussions of that, right? This happened to me at work, actually. I had a bit of kind of an abusive, I discovered years later, after years of work, that I had this weird codependent-y abusive relationship with one of my bosses. And I didn't perceive it that way when I was in it, but it was one of those where it was very much like a trauma bond, and that's like something I never would have thought of. I never would have thought at my workplace that I would be able to have that experience, but I sort of was like a doormat for her, and then she would continue to give me praise and perfect reviews and raises. So it was like this weird dynamic where I felt so uncomfortable because I'm like, this isn't right. And everything's also fine. Like I could take it. And I think because I'm an empathic, sensitive soul, I'm usually that person where people vomit all their crap to. If you're listening to this, I'm assuming you too are a sensitive soul and you've had that experience where people, when they finally feel safe to vomit their stuff or to, if they feel a non-threatening presence and they could just like unleash the Kraken of all their stuff. Yeah, sometimes that can happen often. That's happened to me on planes. That's happened to me in like public places. I think that's a very common thing with empaths and highly sensitive people. It's like people who are craving that kind of release or unleashing their stuff. It's almost like a bloodhound. They could sniff people like that out. So again, it's up to us to have appropriate boundaries. Sometimes it's okay to receive that mystical, magical moment. Sometimes I can be in service when I'm sitting on a plane and it makes sense and spirit is like, okay, this is your work. And other times I'm like, you know what? No, I'm having dinner with my family. Like I need some boundaries here. What's happening? Or here's my card, make an appointment and you could pay me to do this, right? So we have to develop these very highly sensitive perceptual system. We have to be able to discern appropriately in these moments. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied today. It's interesting because that lump in my throat did clear, but now I'm like getting froggy. Excuse me. Okay, where should we go next? Let's get some of these fun. I love this deck. You may have seen this in my last reading, but this deck is Visions in the Liminal Space. One of my consciousness sisters gave it to me, and I freaking love it. It's just really fun. Okay, Spirit. Wait, is there any specific question, Spirit? Do you want me to lean in? Where do you want me to lean in? Okay, passion. What is supporting passion? What is blocking passion? Whoa, have an avalanche of cards. I'll take that. Hold on. All right, what do we got? We have, okay, and this is, mind you, this is the passion card. We have Divine Mother. We have Maybe Next Time. And we have, what does this say? Until the day breaks and the shadows flee away. So, okay, immediately I'm drawn to this card. There's a lot, quite literally, until the day breaks and the shadows flee away. There's a bit of illumination that needs to take place to unblock or uncover this thing, this passion, this soul fire, this soul flame. Reminding all of us, this is a collective reading. There's no feminine, masculine. This is all of us. This is the collective is confronting these things. So, this card is confusing me. Let me drop into the Divine Mother. There's something about, okay, I get it, Spirit. Thank you. We're being called, and you've heard me talk about this. You've heard me talk about internal family systems, IFS therapy. You've heard me talk about Jungian ideas, individuation, reclaiming, the true self. You're being called to step into this role as this divine, unconditionally loving parent. Now, if you did not grow up with that experience, or if you have not had that experience recently, sometimes we can forget. It's really easy as adults to get caught up in the daily activities, I was about to say monotony, but we're not going there. It's more so that it's really easy in the way society is structured to forget what's important, to forget how to show up with our whole self, our whole heart, our whole soul ignited on fire and with this passion, so that you can take another step that is in alignment, that is resonating with your soul. Think about when something resonates and when it doesn't. Even if you think about just music and frequency, you can feel when there's like a less resonant frequency. And then once you hear that music, you get chills up your spine when it's fully resonant. It's like you're fully vibrating mind, body, spirit with this frequency. You could feel the difference. I don't know if you could see it, but I just got chills. So it's really easy to forget this reference point. Collectively, we are being called upon to lean into the Divine Mother, to allow the Divine Mother to hold us, to gift us, to love us and embrace us until we remember, until we can reclaim that memory of divine, unconditional, authentic love. Mind you, that divine, unconditional, authentic love doesn't mean that there's no pain, that there's no suffering, that there's no upheaval and adversity and all these dense things. It means that in the face of all those things, we can still access this unconditionally accepting, beautiful, sacred love, that we, no matter what happens in our life, that we will be able to parent ourselves through anything our soul, our human vessel confronts on this journey. Okay, beautiful. Sorry, I'm distracted. Okay, what's in the unconscious position? Wow, okay. Okay, hold on. Now it's making a little bit more sense. All I'll say about maybe next time is honor that it's okay if you've fallen down. It's okay if you said the wrong thing, you did the wrong thing. Forgiveness, you are worthy of forgiveness. Forgiveness is all around you. It's up to you to feel worthy enough to claim it, either for yourself or for other. So don't waste your precious life force energy dwelling in all the times you screwed up or you failed or you fell down or whatever. I have to bring back my favorite mentor, or one of my top 3 mentors, James Finley. He talks about his mentor, Thomas Merton, who's a very famous monk mystic, writer, poet. Anyway, he said when Thomas Merton was asked, what do monks do in the monastery? He very, very humbly said, we fall down and get back up. We fall down and get back up. We fall down and get back up. Now you think to yourself, like, let's just feel into the context of a monk in a monastery. They have a very limited physical life, right? Oftentimes I don't know if it's called cloistered away. I don't know if that's just nuns and sisters. Forgive me if I'm not using the right term, but they're behind closed doors. They're behind a wall. They're living this kind of monastic life of waking up, being in service, doing your duties, maybe cleaning, eating, praying, meditating, and, repeat, right? Rinse and repeat kind of lifestyle. So you think, wow, how could they, what could they even fail at, right? Like, they're not out in the world. They're protected. They get to spend all this time with the divine and whatever. And sorry, it's moving me. I'm getting emotional because in essence, it's like, I think the world thinks they're actually protected from all this external stuff, but really it's the external stuff that acts as a distraction for us so that we don't have to confront self. Where monks in the monastery all day long, they 24/7, 365, rain or shine, they are confronting these deep, deep, profound pieces of self, these deep limitations, these deep blocks to unconditional love and worthiness. They are looking it dead in the eye 24/7. that type of calling is profound and it is hard. And so when he says we fall down and get back up, we fall down and get back up. What he's saying is we forget our worthiness. We fall from grace, right? We forget how loved we are in this quantum experience. And then we get back up, meaning we remember, oh my God, sorry, I'm really fighting back some ugly crying right now, but we remember, we get back up, we remember we're worthy, and then we can bask in the glow of oneness, of God's love, of unity, consciousness, of whatever you want to call it. There's such profound beauty in that acceptance of the cycle, that you're allowed to fall down, you're allowed to F up, right? You screw up 1,000,000 times and get back up 1,000,001, right? All right, I'm done crying. Let me see what's in the unconscious. So, okay, this I felt was very profound. In the unconscious position, we have, it takes a curse to break a curse. And I don't know if some of you know, like, you know, I don't know if you believe in, like, what do they say? You break a mirror and you get 7 years of bad luck. So, to me, this is a very interesting card, and you can interpret this in a million different ways. You know, I'm going to read from this teeny tiny little book. By the way, this isn't a fancy publishing. Like, it looks like somebody printed this off of their, like, computer or something. It's very, very sweet little deck here. Bear with me. I forget the alphabet and I cannot find this. Okay. It says, to break a curse is to behead a hydra. When the very act of breaking one creates another, producing ever more curses to account for its predecessor. Alternatives to the act of breaking must be considered. Much like how cutting off the original head from which all the others grow slays the monster, at the crux of this quandary lies its solution. The cycle keeping the curse alive must be altogether uprooted, opted out of, and unsubscribed from. Like putting down something very heavy, like upending something very deep. Forgiveness. This is an act of soul retrieval. Okay, wow. Really powerful full circle moment. I don't know when I talked about forgiveness, but it was in the beginning of the reading. And it's basically like you can't win the race by running in the race. You have to opt out of subscribing to the value in which you put on the meaning you make, the importance you put on this thing that you feel is holding you back. I'm trying to think of a good example, but I can't really think of one right now. I have to go to my pillar of truth, Carolyn Mace. She's my number one spiritual mentor. If anyone's curious, my holy trinity of spiritual mentors are Carolyn Mace, James Finley, and Michael Singer. So those are my peeps. And I have to go to her energy anatomy because it's just so practical. It's just a matter of energy in, energy out. If you only have 100 units of energy to spend for the day, you have to be very diligent to budget your energy. You have to make hard decisions around where are you going to invest that energetic currency, right? We don't have infinite energy, even though we can have access to the quantum field, which is infinite recycled energy, right? But our human vessels are limited, right? Our human vessels get tired, they get exhausted, they need to rest. And so we are here to fine-tune our wise discernment. This is the name of the game. So on your quest to healing love or healing blocks to love, you are being asked to make incredibly astute, specific micro discernments, micro consent. Are you consenting to this little mini thought, to this little mini moment? Are you consenting? Are you a hell yes in your body, mind, spirit to this thought, to this experience, to this action? You are being called to streamline your energetic system so that you can just flow through life. And so you could walk down the street and you could just naturally say, yes, I'm consenting to that. I don't want to do that. I like this. I don't like that. I have a negative thought pop in my head. You know what? That's not a healthy thought, right? Remember that that's a cue. If you can witness yourself having the negative thought, or I don't like to really say negative, it's more of a denser, low frequency thought. Can you call your spirit back from places that doesn't belong and say, you know what, that's not the healthiest thing to think right now. That's not my baseline reality. My baseline reality is all this beautiful unconditional love and infinite oneness. So what's going on with me that I'm having that thought? Right? You're unsubscribing from the idea or the possibility that there's something wrong with you, and you are subscribing to the idea that you are a divine, human, fallible, unconditionally loving, worthy of love creature. If I'm not in love, something must be wrong. So how can I caretake myself, my vessel, my life, so that the circumstances are better for me to access love? I just got full body chills. That's not a small thing that I said. And I know it was very wordy, but I felt like I really had to drive it in. I really had to hammer it in because it's really important. So we are unsubscribing from the idea that there is something wrong with us. And we are subscribing to the idea of, hey, maybe the circumstances of my life or my environment are screwed up. Maybe if I fix those and create an optimal environment for this vessel to exist in, I will be more in alignment and I will be more in consent with the world around me, and thus have less obstacles to love, to presence, to discernment, to authenticity. Woo! Okay. Wow. Incredible ending there, right? Let me see if I could get one last card. Anything else, Spirit? Okay, beautiful. We'll end on this. We have serenity. The most important relationship you can have is with yourself. This is a time to honor, nurture, and love yourself more by seeking out and removing any negative feelings and emotions that are left over from yesterday. Do not let past issues and resentments interfere with your serenity today. This is the energy anatomy stuff I was just talking about. Can you identify where you're leaking energy to? Remember, we are constantly making energetic investments all day long. The work is in bringing consciousness, or a conscience, if you will, to these investments. Are we just leaking energy all over the place, or are we actually sovereign? Are we wielding our discernment over where we're making these choices, right? You're calling your spirit back from places it doesn't belong so that you can reclaim that power, so that you can honor and fuel your wise discernment and make choices that make sense to your body, mind, and spirit. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I am so impressed with the collective right now. We are at such a divine place in time, and I'm just excited to be able to show up and be in service to all of us. Much love to you all, and I will see you in the next one.